was standing ready. Lord, please, I could take a guess. Oh, would you please? We are ready. I'm lifted by the spirits of peace. I guess we're never going home. Never Johnny St. John could never be alone. Well, I guess I'm well adjusted, but the pains they never leave, except for my feet. I keep my arms in my suitcases and my shoulders halfway down to the ground. There's definitely something cooking.
Hello, humans. Happy Friday. This is the Slackline. Welcome to the quote of the day daily broadcast. We're coming at you from Vancouver, BC. It's raining here, as it usually is, but it's Friday, so we're good and happy. Coffee's hot. Boris is wandering around, and everything is good. This is the end of our week, but we will be back on Sunday with the full-length Slackline. With JWoww and the boss, and a nice conversation with a buddy, Bryce Jorger. Really interesting back and forth throughout that. Talk about some President Oprah possibilities and just things that have paved the way for these types of people to start getting serious consideration for office, and also reflecting that celebrities have kind of always been involved in politics, no more or less than anybody else from any other industry, really, I don't think. So yeah, that's a good episode, and hope you guys tune into that one. I really recommend it. Again, this is Friday, January 12th, 2018, second Friday of 2018, our second Friday of the Slackline quote of the day. And we're coming at you with a nicer quote today. We've been talking some philosophy and some love and some deeper thoughts throughout the week. But today we're just gonna have a nice quote. Today's quote brought to us by Dr. Buddy's puppy eye surgery. Love the way that puppy eye filter makes your eyes look unreasonably awesome. Try making it permanent with Dr. Buddy's puppy eye surgery. Greg, that doesn't sound very safe. So I guess that's to make your eyes permanently look like that Snapchat filter face. Okay, yeah, sure. People want what they want. That again is Dr. Buddy's puppy eye surgery. And that brings us to our quote today. This coming from a woman named Jennifer Neal. Who knew that dog saliva can mend a broken heart? That is Jennifer Neal. This is a nice fluffy quote to end everybody's week. I have a dog. I've had him for almost 6 years, and I thought I saw this quote today as I was kind of browsing through a few, and I thought I'd like to give a little tribute to him and dogs in general. I kind of used to actually be afraid of dogs. I got tackled by one when I was a kid, and I was always really wary of them growing up, but I also always wanted one, and I asked for one every year for Christmas, and I never got one. And then when I was like 13, my parents got me a stuffed animal puppy. Like, I was 13, and so I was not very happy about that. It was kind of like a slap in the face. And I never asked for a puppy again. In hindsight, we had no time for a dog now that I have one. And also in hindsight, I'm glad that I waited until I could get my own dog, and he could be kind of truly mine versus the family's dog. So when I was in university, I was just sitting in class and perusing through things on the not paying attention in class, and perusing some dog adoption sites. And the girl next to me, she looked over my shoulder and just asked what I was doing. I said I was thinking about getting a dog, and she flipped out, and I thought, yeah, this could be a thing. And well, I ended up dating that girl for a long time, but also, when he was a puppy, man, it's hilarious how I mean, not just girls, but people in general flock to a young puppy. They're so cute, they're so fun. I sometimes wish Boris was a puppy again. He was so hilarious and so small, and now he's so huge, and I can't pick him up anymore. But yeah, dogs, they're an interesting case. There was another one that I was considering choosing for today. It's also, about kind of the love of dogs, but it's also a little bleak. But yeah, this was another quote by Maurice Maeterlinck. Maeterlinck. He's a Belgian dramatist, essayist, and poet, or was, I should say. Sorry. And yeah, his quote to kind of go along with my thoughts on dogs is: "We are alone, absolutely alone on this chance planet, and amid all the forms of life that surround us, no one, excepting the dog, has made an alliance with us." And it's kind of an interesting thought, because the dogs, yeah, I mean, we formed an interesting bond with them as wolves, and recognizing tameness, and then that became kind of a dominant trait for wolves, because it was a survival mechanism by getting scraps of food from humans, and it eventually evolves into tiny little chihuahuas or big dogs like mine. And I don't know, like I find it really interesting how we connected with this animal, so much. I don't have cats. I've never had cats. I'm allergic to cats, so I'm sure cat owners will say the same thing about their cats. But dogs, they have like they can sense you. They know what you're feeling kind of before you even do, or can bring those feelings out in you in a weird way, or help you calm down. Like for me, I get angry a lot at technology and stuff when it's not working. And I mean, Boris has seen enough of that from me, that he gets antsy. He gets, as soon as he sees me start to kind of say like, ah, shit, like while I'm sitting at my computer, he goes and runs into onto his little bed, and just like sits there. And I come downstairs after freaking out at my computer for a little while, and he's just like sitting there looking at me like, "Oh, what are you doing? Are you mad at me?" And he keeps me calm, because I have to go up to him and be like, "No, man, not mad at you. Like I'm just being stupid." And then you realize how stupid it is that you're angry at this machine in the first place. And so he definitely is like a service dog in that sense. And I think all dogs are kind of like that, because they attach themselves to you, and they become a part of you, and you're so much reflected in them, because you're their master, you're kind of their whole world. And so you're kind of looking in a mirror a lot of the time when you look into your dog, and it's a cool thing to see, and they do sense those feelings that you have. I'll never forget like being just super one of the worst days of my life, just really depressed and sad, and not really sure what to do about a situation. And I was just sitting in a chair in my living room, just with my head in my hand, like looking blankly at the wall, and just kind of thinking. And Boris came from around the corner, and he just like crawled right up on top of me, which is something that he never really does, and just like rested himself on me in this huge kind of hug and embrace. And I just started breaking down like, oh god. He could feel that I needed a hug, which is, I mean, it's something that people feel between each other. I think like we do recognize when somebody's like distressed and stuff, but we're never really sure. Not never. But depending on your situation or relationship with a person, you're not really sure what the proper consolation is. If it's just kind of a stranger that is randomly confiding in you, it can be just like a, hey, yeah, sorry to hear that, or whatever. uh or if it's your friend, you might get a hug out of them, and that tends to help, and hugs are nice. So but a dog will just come and give you a hug. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what the relation is. And that's why you see in like hurricane relief and stuff like that, when people are all housed in gymnasiums in these makeshift shelters, they come and they release dogs into the shelters just to like lift people's spirits, because they do, they bring a positive energy, and they seek out people who need sympathy and stuff like that, and it's a pretty cool thing to see. I had a friend talk to me. I was talking to her about, I was not really having a great time with like dating and stuff like that, and I was just kind of over it, and saying how, like I didn't feel like I really needed anything like that. Um and she was like, "Well, I mean, yeah, you get all the love you need from Boris." And I was like, "Oh, that's true." She's like, "Yeah, like you you can cuddle your dog when you're sad, he's like a big fluffy teddy bear and stuff like that, and he'll listen to anything you say and won't talk back. And he's always there to just lift your spirits, like I said." So I thought that was really interesting in regards to the way I was feeling about dating at the time, and it kind of made sense to me that, like, oh yeah, I guess like I don't feel the need to seek out love in that way necessarily, because it's kind of always waiting there at home. It's kind of, yeah, it's a cool thing to think about. And having a dog, it really changed my perspectives on a lot of things. It changed my thoughts on perspective, the perspective of animals, and what they see, and how they feel, and how they see, like they see these different radiations coming off of, a lamppost, and that's how he recognizes, how many dogs have been there, and that's why he pisses on it, like, or how he hears things that, he'll hear the unique rumble of my brother's car engine from a few minutes away, which is like, it's something that we don't have, so it gave me a different perspective on that type of perspective and intelligence, right? Like, well, who's to say, like, that's a different type of intelligence that we don't have, that he knows that Luke's car is going to be here, that he knows that my brother's car is going to show up within a few minutes, and he starts getting excited to see him. Like, that is a energy level that we as people cannot tap into necessarily, right? Like, we would call that a superpower. How did you know that person was coming? Like, it's a premonition thing, right? I mean, obviously it's not. It's a combination of like his hearing and but like a bunch of different senses that we don't have, that heightened sense of smell, maybe that interacts with their sight in a weird way, or maybe, like, how do they process this type of information? Like, it'd be interesting to look into like dog EKGs or something like that, or dog MRIs. Like, I don't know if you could even do that, but it really made me think about, perspective, perspective within, even people within the spectrum of like, color blindness, all the way to like things like Asperger's and autism and whatnot, like, and just how those people, look at the world differently and perceive the world differently, and makes me think about, how, and people that, claim to be, mediums or see auras and stuff like that, like, I don't know, it's all kind of, it seems kind of hokey, and like, I don't even know the right word for it. It seems kind of just out there. But if people can see different colors than some of us, if people can if people can see different colors, if people can taste different things, like, then who's to say that they can't see different, a different type of radiation coming off of you? That could be all like a quote unquote aura is just like, well, you're radiating at a frequency of this versus this, and so some people see that. Some people see words in colors. It's called synesthesia, and they associate different numbers with different colors, and that's how their brain remembers words and numbers. Some form of it is in like sight and hearing. Like some people actually see music. Like they can see these colors of wavelengths coming off of instruments as they vibrate through the air. Like some people see that stuff. And so yeah, like there's all these sort of different perspectives, and really, like, honestly, having a dog made me start to think about these types of things more. Um and think about like the intelligence of animals and the way we look at animals. Uh like I see him, like I look into his eyes and I know that he like understands certain things, that we have a language that uh that him and I have developed. So I know the difference between like a pain whine and a have to pee whine and a let's go out whine, and a whine is that's like just a whine for whine's sake. And he knows when I'm actually angry, or when I don't, when I call him but don't really need to call him, or when I actually need to call him, or all these different tones and words and stuff like that he's learned just throughout his life. There's an intelligence there that makes me wish, like, if he could talk, makes me wish he could talk, and just like wonder what would actually come out of his mouth if he could. Because sometimes he roar, and like he talks to me sort of sometimes when he's wanting something, but he's not sure how to say it, right? And you can see the frustration when he's like stamping around like, no, I want this, and I'm like, I don't know, I see that you're wanting something, and I've given you all of these things that are like your normal list of stuff. What, I'm not really sure what else you need. So yeah, that's kind of where the connection ends, I guess, and can get a little annoying for both of us. But yeah, and it made me think about, again, like animals overall, and just how we think about their intelligence. I remember watching Blackfish, the documentary Blackfish, after I got Boris, and that really hit me hard, because you see all these animals that they're very intelligent, more intelligent than my dog. That's what the relativity is now. All of these animals, they're more intelligent than my dog, and we're keeping them in these like confined spaces, no different than it would be like keeping my dog in a cage, like literally all the time. And so that, like, it hits me, and then I learn about like how pigs get taken care of, the pigs that we eat, and they're in cages where they can't even turn around. And pigs are like smart animals. They have the intelligence of dogs or better. And so I think about Boris being stuck in a situation like that, and I'm like, of course he would be going nuts, and of course he would be like, violent and like psychotic. It makes me think twice about eating pork. I honestly don't eat a lot of pork. I try not to. I don't even really like bacon. I mean, but I still do sometimes. That's something I'm trying to look at in 2018, is to honestly only eat wild meat and fish. So we'll see how long that goes now that it's locked out there and in the universe. Because yeah, I mean, just thinking about the way that these things are being kept, it's not okay. And so, and getting Boris and starting to think, kind of more critically about animals, and just how they operate and how they perceive things, really it changed my life in a lot of ways. It changed the way I think about life. And anybody that doesn't have a dog or has never had a dog, I recommend forming a bond with one, 'cause it's pretty special. So maybe we'll leave it there for today. That quote again is, who knew that dog saliva can mend a broken heart? Jennifer Neal. And a little bonus one thrown in for you there too, from Maurice Maeterlinck. We are alone, absolutely alone on this chance planet, and amid all forms of life that surround us, not one, excepting the dog, has made an alliance with us. Some people that argue the cat, I would argue that the cat has not made an alliance with us, and it just kind of puts up with its human that gives it food every once in a while. So yeah, anyways, this episode, this quote again, brought to you by Dr. Buddy's Puppy Eye Surgery, Love the way that puppy eye filter makes your eyes look unreasonably awesome? Try making it permanent with Dr. Buddy's puppy eye surgery. I don't know if I can personally condone it, but they're paying for the airtime. So they brought us that quote today. Like to thank Axel Boss for bringing us in with a chill tune. And like to thank the Crooked Spies for heading us into the weekend with some hard rock. Make sure you follow the Instagram at the.slack.line. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube at the Slackline Podcast. Twitter is slackline_radio. And iTunes, you can just find it under the Slackline on podcast as well. That, again, is it for Quote of the Day. Hashtag TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. You've been listening to The Boss.
The boss is coming!
That's a made-up dumb fairy tale name, you.
Everybody have a good weekend. We are out.